Okay, so particular pemacu sistema baka traffic safety. Siuta fikwa sira simio te mitamine o fikowa se mitame fishing for message email for lama. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for joining the Center's Traffic Safety Program.
I
am Lisanne, and Doe is here, and we work at the Center's Traffic Safety Program.
Traffic safety.
And so today we're going to talk about the steps to getting a learner permit and then a license.
So tadi ni ay pagkateba kita keluar kalau awen hiwara permit jalan bukan hiwara license jalan mah.
So there's a distinction between an identification card, a learner permit, and a driver's license, and we will talk about that as we move through this.
So baka ID, learner permit, or driver license that's the kind of Allah trauma. But our presentation the kind of our pagkateba kita keluar baka tadi ID the guy.
But let's first talk about the process, or gathering your points of identification and filling out the application for the first step, which is to get your ID and then your permit.
So I chose it in because our number pillar form dealer, number the job with dam dealer man, nami la DMV ne, nami apply without that kind in the loba number pillar without form dealer thing.
Your immigration status will help to determine which points of documentation to bring.
We were like nake citizen, we remain nake resident la Utica. Dealer thing our kamacho rana man nami la DMV.
If you are a refugee or you're still in refugee status, you'll likely need documentation from the center.
Our nimike refugee dorilane, our noloba like large holler love refugee center.
So please call 315-738-1083 to request an appointment with traffic safety.
One middle of the journey covered up before we the nui hot the walk the traffic safety machina.
So we are able to meet with people over Zoom during this COVID time, and so that's probably how we'll meet with people for now.
Kaine baka COVID ako simi schedule da appointment pagkamawa la Zoom lama kasunya la nami ha la refugee center lo wacha fi that make do o pagkamala Zoom lama.
So we'd also need your email address, your phone number, your email address.
Okay, so for me go da appointment if I have email address before now read it for me.
So besides there being a distinction between an ID, a permit, and a license, there's also what they call is, I'll start on the left, is a real ID. That's the one that has the star on it, and that would allow somebody to fly a plane or get into a military base or go to federal buildings.
So ID, learner permit, driver's license, that kind of a lot trauma. I mean, la ID, our apu, when I get our that ID a lot trauma. Like if our paying is around with our real ID, or the chat. child planning ne bakala nami la simi hala ko ga te pya IT thema
so to for that you would need your proof of Social Security, so your Social Security card, a proof of citizenship or lawful status, 2 proofs of residency, and 6 points of proof of name.
So similar tara wala baka real ID ne lupa Social Security ba citizenship so tami one me I think a refugee amedia we were like kimula apya wala has the all he address medila we were si lupa 6 points ma baka wala simi that thing.
Okay, and then there's the enhanced ID, which, and I keep saying ID, which would follow through to your permit and license as well. But the enhanced ID is accepted for boarding a domestic flight or entering a federal building. It's also accepted at U.S. land and sea border crossings, and it's available to U.S. citizens only.
Well, ID got a kind of give it enhanced ID more that kind of gave me galala gaga flip out with the ID say the galala federal building that I say me galala sea border that kind of less citizen when you look at citizen I want
and it's an additional $30 fee.
So our 13 by here 30 out of 13.
So you need proof of Social Security, proof of citizenship, U.S. citizenship, 2 proofs of residency, and 6 points of proof of name.
So similar to enhanced ID, if you look at Social Security, our citizenship, we were 2 proof of residency near if a likila pap yawada no hila pala we were 6 points of namima like likila yawada nami.
And then there's a standard ID, which is not for federal purposes.
Well, I feel kind of standard ID la our a usual ID la usual.
It's not accepted for boarding a domestic flight or entering a federal building.
So our simi hala stay agati la tene our what to lower ID the kai bamo.
It is not federally recognized as a form of identification.
So our federal need to lower.
And there's no additional fees for that beyond the normal fee.
So the little here that way our key kanibama.
And for that, you need proof of date of birth, 1 proof of residency, and 6 proofs of name.
So our simitora with standard ID ne or nabapya with land open when you move up our no healer we were who ma pair up your nami that
So I'm encouraging people to at least to get the real ID if you can, if you're eligible to work toward getting the real ID to provide those extra points of identification whenever possible to get that real ID. It'll just be easier later on.
So there with our get the real ID so eva kasunyane talano one anyodimo.
Okay, so and you can set up an appointment with us and we can go through your documents and kind of help you see which makes sense for you.
But our similar what I'm if appointment with or particular name the ballet liki there the DMB medulama.
Oops. Application. So the application form looks like this. It's usually blue. They're available down at the DMV at 321 Main Street in Utica.
So our that kind of get application one mi ka tora ta mi ne liki de kind of all the DMV la mo mi ron la hine.
So you have to say what you're applying for. You're applying for a permit or an ID. It says license, but you get your license after you have your permit and you pass the road test. So what are you applying for, your permit or your identification card? I suggest you apply for the ID first if you don't have one, because then that will become 1 point of residency for you, one proof of residency.
Okay. So our me peel over that application to kind of aga that mean the peel over that license permit ID. Pero mi ta we the peel out chola ID kamo so up ya wera le fi o hipeles o our mi tora permit that in anyo ara chemo.
So people who are newly arrived, this would be new. But if you've been here a while and it's about to expire, you can say renew, or you need to update your information, like your address or something like that. Or you lost it, you need a replacement. So as soon as you get it, I would take a picture of it. Am I going too fast?
No, it's okay. So pyramid there film why the 1 year last one 1 year hela United States last one if you pure that for more I mean 1 year our ID only me renew that or but check cover that renew the kind of me address me changes like if you pure update info we were our me got me how much need if you pure that replacement more.
Sometimes people have done something wrong and they have some restrictions or conditions placed on their license because they've have a bad driving record. I don't know exactly, the situations that would occur, but those sometimes you can apply for a conditional or restricted license.
The blood economy 1 year license, minimum permit, our I gave it a conditional restricted one what they are not the kind of so the blood call the middle bottom much conditional restricted our much
some people move to New York State and then they need to transfer a license that they've had in another state.
So the blood call 1 year old state around my boss we have okay that New York ne our for me pure transfer to New York ne ID or pure. Yeah.
So if you've had or you've ever had a New York State driver license, learner permit, or ID card, you're going to say yes. Well, you're going to have to answer this question. Have you ever had a New York State driver license, ID, or permit? So you answer yes or no. And if it's a yes, you put that number in here.
So the application that approve the license, the permit, the ID on that me on in the check color yes, that me on the the ID la approve me on the code la that no we the kind our the code.
If you have a driver's license that is valid or expired within the last 2 years, issued by another U.S. state or the District of Columbia or a Canadian province, you mark here and then where it was issued and then the date of expiration, the type of license, and what the out-of-state license ID number is.
So pwede ramu piawera penini le 1 year le hele coste agama ba era pila wera ni o si wera si ID expiration ake wera license medela wa kwela the license no wima plofani pwede ramu piawera.
So for your name, it needs to be exactly as it appears on your immigration paperwork. If from your I-94 or your passport, if your name says Adam, comma, Adam. So Adam is your first name. After the comma is your middle name, and then your last name is your last name.
So tramutera simi pila simi ni aba rakisa feel I-94 lama I-94 mitme target closia chol cocklan aba rakisa aba radisa lama. So nami amenya mikewera Adam one me akata mikewera Adam ne bapa la lotti lama ne ba pila la aba rakisa I-94 lama.
Okay, it's really important that you get those the way they appear on your immigration documents.
Yeah, so I read over the piece in me ready for Pepia Jolly Kilo Cockler.
Okay, and then your date of birth. Are you a male or a female? Your height in feet and inches, your eye color, a telephone number. And if your name changed since you last got your license or ID, you need to write that in there too.
So I want to meet Pila the application but Pila without no plumbing name for minute without one qua we want the not taught to tell the make clear your wonderful no well a palata can on the mimi call it the medium one rock without the mila for.
For instance, sometimes people's last name changes when they get married, so that might be different. Or sometimes people, after they get their citizenship or when they're getting their citizenship, they might change their name a little bit. And so you need to write that on there and get that fixed so it matches what your new legal name is.
So the brother Connie one year our applause that we I feel I mean lucky bitanya I call them on me 1 year never citizen. I feel color that me so me to me color to me or feel for that penny patch with that me color the blah blah anymore.
You write your social security number in here.
We were penny I went about color with the social number.
If you've never been issued a Social Security, you can check that box here if you're not. So with the green light law, there's some way to not have a Social Security card and to get your permit and driver's license, but not an ID.
And so the blood call our through social media only or to check out with that penny our repeal our that mean our Geneva license still. Yeah.
Okay. And then you have to put the address where you get your mail in this top line. And then address if it's different where you live in the bottom line. You want to make sure you get this right so you actually get the ID in the mail.
So I think the application in the back where Nihina we did that so our mission can or I read the address.
And if that changed, you have to make sure you get that fixed. Okay.
But he address me call Lenya when particular with that DMV
or updated rather your address because you want to make sure your new permit or ID doesn't go to some place where you used to live because you'll never get it.
Our particular the address change people update with that one need to update but I will but if you work a show with an no premier media learn he lima so I read over tell go around the address yeah.
It's at least not likely. The main point is be careful about what boxes you're checking, because not all boxes apply to you, and you don't have to fill every box in, only the ones that are applicable to you.
Teramuta redo kitala our few governor like box the glamour our film piano our the killer few way so it's about quality.
So for instance, the box that says veteran status, that's for people who have been honorably discharged from the military service. And you have to provide documents to that, so you wouldn't fill that in unless you were working, unless you have veteran status.
So they would have veteran status bakala wanyala tawala suma, so that kind of meet baka nani our period.
This part is about organ and tissue donation. It says you are certifying that you're 16 years old of age or older, and you consent to donating your organs and tissue for transplantation and research, authorizing DMV to transfer your name and identifying information to the Donate Life Registry, and authorizing Donate Life New York State to give access to this information to federally regulate organ donation organizations and New York State license, blah, blah, blah. So most people say, skip this question because it's just complicated. If, maybe you wait a while till you've been here for a while and understand that more fully.
So, what they were New York State organ and tissue donation. That kind of our apipura chemo. So our immediately also to check skip this question. The kasunyama Fiminapa Adam Mathema Pethiminapa or skip without question again.
Voter registration question. If you're registered to vote where you live now, would you like to apply to register? So if you're not a citizen, you cannot register to vote.
So Pat, they would have voter registration question in my if through me to get a citizen if you vote the favor more, but then with the get citizen vote to vote the neighbor.
So you can say no. If you're not a citizen, you must say no.
If you meet a get citizen or check how it I'll know.
And then at the bottom, it has this other section that says registration with the United States Selective Service System. All male U.S. citizens and immigrants age 18 through 25 must register with the Selective Service or violate the law. Failure to register is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and or a $250,000 fine. If not registered by age 26, you can no longer register and will be permanently lose benefits associated with registration, and you will be disqualified from access to U.S. citizenship if an immigrant, Pell Grants and federal student aid, job training programs, and all federal and postal jobs and many state employment jobs. Should you elect not to register, you may do so by checking the no box, and the pre-mentioned benefits will be lost. So that box is probably not advisable to check.
Yeah, so Pat, they were registration with United States Selective Service System and what that kind of bakala what did you want is to Kichiya Nemo, like if our FIBA register so the medium you want me at the Matthew Cafe our yeah that kind of bakasirama. But the medium up when or to skip that question okay.
And then on the back of the form, you have these questions that you should go through with an interpreter, but they're really about your ability to drive. So they're not all, you don't have to fill in all of these either, just, like some are, if it's a yes, then you have to say something else. You have to do that, if yes, then, fill out the rest. If you lost like this one, have you lost the use of a leg, an arm, and an eye? Yes or no. If you say yes, then you have to answer these extra ones. But not all of this is important. You have to say, has your driver's license, learner permit, or privilege to drive a motor vehicle been suspended, revoked, or canceled, or has your application for a license been denied in this state or elsewhere in the name you provided on this form? Yes or no. If it's no, then you don't have to fill this out. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So our tasi kwara kanya the key for the luinema our wanyami machina the interpreter Nina mi one our agricultor mo tasi sara kanya tirba tirlo sisa kalakachiva mo ami the gela figon yagi for no we luinema achawara la pukui me our numerically the Maramalava and the Chu and the Corp over. There can in me Cheche color no near I went the Loma la Palalama. So I found no return ya Pukui wa a would under driver like say a permit therapy the canima. Nemi Sisala yes near I went about pure and Nemi Sisala no about pure la Palalama. Thermia taken.
Okay, and then if you are under 16, the parent has to consent to a non-driver ID and can complete that they'll certify that the applicant's completed 50 hours of supervised practice driving. So if you're looking for a junior license or non-driver ID, your parents have to sign off.
So I put on the Tichihunisia Palanima per Luba ID me I will appear up permitted at any or more baba sign with Anama.
So then there's a second part to that that's called Teen Electronic Event Notification Service. So it says, I would like to enroll in the Teens program to be notified if the under 18-year-old applicant receives a conviction, suspension, revocation, or an accident on their license file. For more information about this program, it tells you where to go and how to enroll. And then you put the ID number on the non-driver ID card of the consenting parent or guardian there. In here, you put their number in there. That, do you want me to stop? Go ahead.
Okay, so there can la apala que te ni baja la WhatsApp or more to Chihonisi apala. I feel like semi suspended. Me believe. But do at the medium new anymore. I will free thoroughly if you pull it program the kai more. Yeah.
So it allows the parent to kind of monitor what the teen is doing. And I believe it also, you'd have to look at it further, but the parent has, can tell the teen they cannot drive. Also, they can revoke their privileges. The parent can do it.
Well, that kind of our similar people to children. Our target group collective among Baha supposedly the I'm not gonna we want to meet the ella I feel not gonna if you our little program kind of was to pay a license.
So it's important that parents know what's going on with the driving of a young person in their household, because that affects their insurance. It affects so many different things.
So I really do get a lot more upon a thing where I feel for the knock away at the about that. For the put it there, knock a million our issuance of the tossing or up with football. Yeah.
Okay. But learn more about that before you check those boxes.
Yeah. Or
so when you apply for an ID, a learner permit, bring your application and the identification documents with you to the DMV, the Oneida County DMV, which is at 321 Main Street, Utica, New York. That's what the building looks like.
Okay. So if we thought of that ID, minimum learner permit, let's show that the application, the leaky that they pass the global learn DMV, mala, Circuit Main Street, Utica, New York.
So the Center Traffic Safety Program, Oneida County DMV, and other appointments we're going to talk about now.
So Kenya, but the center, our program traffic safety team, like
So if you're having an in-person appointment, always wear a mask and stay 6 feet away from each other.
So if you they would appointment, what you like to without family. For that mass, we was about
some places are taking temperatures. I mean, you may want to take your own temperature before you leave the house every day. Make sure you don't have a fever.
Check what the temperature mommy feel local.
So do not go to an appointment and reschedule if you're sick, you have a fever, or supposed to be in quarantine or isolation.
So if you choke, I feel fever that I think me want me to mas you anymore. I will always schedule the appointment or hella the center if you me choking.
So there are 3 steps to getting your license. You want to pass the written permit test, take the 5-hour course, and pass the road test.
So our license was if I'm not if pro the permit test, we was if I more January the kind we were the test the kind.
So after you've passed the written permit test, you're allowed to drive with a licensed driver over 21, so you can practice driving.
So our pro permit test we want to knock out the more. That means 1 year like kichi Tunisia palap a driver license on that our but all in the power.
So what this doesn't say is you need to practice.
So practice so yeah not practice yeah.
So what the center helps folks do is we can provide some individual support and with language support if necessary. We have study materials in Arabic, Burmese, Quran, Nepali, Spanish, Swahili, and Russian, and soon Dari and Pashto. Some of it's already available in Dari and Pashto.
So I love the center name. I will put hela si tagi the club no kasimo. If we look at the language like Arabic, Burmese, Korean, Nepali, Spanish, Swahili, and Russian. That can the language the kind of we were K Pashto the Dari na ke the language the kind of
So we work with people to set a strategy and work through the next steps. And there's some materials on Facebook and YouTube.
So I will put much over that when you're particularly I feel about Mamudi level, but love Facebook nita kita klo baka permitted I think oh yeah.
So now we're working remotely for the most part, so we can. What we would do is we would schedule an appointment with you over Zoom, and we can email you the resources that you need, and give you access to the videos and things of that nature.
Okay, do our remotely mobile manner he so if we schedule up appointment or appointment or Zoom we were patiently not the email.
We can help schedule permit tests and interpreters for taking the permit test as well, if you require that and they don't have your language at the DMV.
So our similova with our interpreter our term scheduling interpreter nilama.
So you can email traffic safety at thecenterutica.org or call traffic safety at the center at 315-738-1083.
So through Mira's Lova through email for the traffic safety at. So our DMV no kikama la Utica Utica la room Utica wa through all kikada.
If you're getting your ID or taking a permit test in English or other translated languages, no appointment is necessary.
So our thumi the mawada permit test the Goloa the Glolaga pair our only in through the lower appointment.
If you're taking the permit test with an interpreter, you must schedule the appointment with the DMV and an interpreter with Compass.
So our thimi lower interpreter our schedule appointment the DMV we were schedule appointment the Compass in my interpreter.
The center's traffic safety program can schedule for you and suggest you meet with the traffic safety coordinator to make sure your paperwork is in order and you're prepared before going.
So the traffic safety program now, I think scheduling through interpreter theme we were our Guanina main leader thing we our
when you're at the DMV, you will be given an eye test for the learner permit. So you need to know your alphabet, your ABCs in English.
So similar the DMV name, see what thing has the ABC that check on me make If
you have to have classes, you need to bring them with you and wear them.
Mid dollar mid on him on the bandage over the mid dog on the mask forward in the mid dog.
Or if you've had an eye test, there's a form that you could fill out, have your eye doctor fill out.
We were our fault would come on and meet them when I see the rapin in see the rapin I think but many make
So after you've passed the learner permit test, you can only drive supervised with a licensed driver over 21 years old.
So I was through me pro permit test anymore. Me not gonna 1 year like Kiji Denise Apoko pair our driver license one.
During this time of the pandemic, it's always a good idea to be wearing a mask when you're in close proximity to other people.
So baka da chura chani agi the let's saw around mass month which in another 1 year think pani.
So after you pass your learner permit test, please call us and schedule an appointment. And we will help you work through the next steps because you're not, a learner permit is not a license.
So our the permit moving or schedule appointment of mama that our the permit on like in it weekly kachiri mama siba mada already.
So that after you've gotten your permit and you've practiced a bit, a lot, you can take the 5-hour, you have to take the 5-hour pre-licensing course, which is held at Gelati's driving school. I believe it's $65. Maybe it's 60.
Okay. So our senior permit we were to no biaka so we were yabla hubla to no mi bala jet when was the lepo where that one we generate canine. We want our that one we can go lower huchi me huchi yaba anymore.
You have to pre-register for the course before you go.
So Siba registered the pula the lady Siba registered the mima.
So there are a variety of places that this class is offered in times. So Wednesday nights is offered at 4 p.m. And 1 Paris Road, New Hartford.
Okay, no,
and then Saturday mornings at 8:45. I suggest you get there at 8:30. 339 Genesee Street, Utica, where that triangular shaped building is.
So I was mir alla pawra January class kanine a low dot duma like musani ne la 1 Paris Road but border Genesee Street ne awa afima wara afu ora la lunary mom chakwa ba la Saturday mu huni ne la Genesee panine honai luchi ne afima wara January class kanine.
Okay, and they also have an online option.
We was in here online again.
Okay, and so I would bring $65. You'll know when you register exactly how much it is. Sometimes prices change, but you bring the cash with you. Most people like to go to this on Genesee, so it's Genesee Street. It's where that triangular shaped building is, and the traffic circle is.
So I was see me thought of me I get to mila qua đó cũng nên là cho đã chỉ huchi mình với huchi ra mà ta mới xem mi thought of me à ta với biểu ra là mình ban là cho chỉ thế thôi là we ba la phải mới biểu ra tao có được cái này tao penny này cáiวันยันแล้วก็ดันยันอยู่cái tên là món the Queen Genesee Street penny này.
And again, you're going to want to wear a mask or they won't let you in.
Mas det var sån mask till mina sån mask det var det enda eller vad nu.
For now, while there's COVID. Hopefully we won't always be that way.
Yeah, maka cool for my sån mask.
So when you complete the 5-hour pre-licensing certificate, you're going to get a certificate. And this is good for 12 months. So the date it's issued is down in the lower right-hand corner, and the certificate number is in the upper right-hand corner.
So si kwa wala our ta mo yena ka mi buni wa health certificate mo wa la certificate ne wa kwa wala mu ni mi so pen kwa wala wi pala wi ba ai fa anogi la ta ko pe ne certificate. Okay, so certificate kind of the key lalamo.
So you need to use the number from the certificate to register for the road test and the date to register for the road test. And you need to bring that certificate with you with your permit to your road test.
So Thimikala no road test ni mo Nogi the canila certificate ni aridomo to register the meter Nogi the canny we bought the mean lala road test ni I will walk a Java certificate kaima.
I suggest you take a picture of the certificate and or a paper copy of the certificate in case you lose it, so you can get a new one issued.
So there are certificate I want my
I think they charge for a new one, maybe $35 or $40, but it's not like you have to take the whole class all over again.
Well, do certificate can me how money more was in Michala for the apology to Jetty. I thought the Chija theatre anymore. That makes you to look over that move or liquid can me have money. Me bahila for the apology to Gemma.
But the best idea would be not to lose it at all.
So I will tell you to Mahama. Yeah.
Okay, I'd also take a picture of your permit. So you have your ID, your permit, your license, whatever you have. Keep a copy of those.
So I will tell you DORA certificate can have the permit.
In case you lose it.
Me have money.
So again, after the 5-hour pre-licensing course, you need to drive supervised by a licensed driver over 21.
So there may not data kind of read over the last. January, that was January kind of name. Timinokani, 1 year, a license or Kiji, Denisia Poconi, Paulanaka Palama.
That person is there to help you learn how to drive safely.
So 1 year low on the Caparagani or Bapiana on the Banoka challenge and allow you to Lama.
So practice.
So practice no Piaka.
You still only have your permit.
And so I will.
You cannot drive it alone.
The permit only in the Nokada Seva.
So, and then the third step to getting your license is to pass the road test. So while you're at the 5-hour course with Gelatis, they can schedule a road test for you. I think they charge $15 to do that.
So I was the quite that one January kind of moving more. Me schedule a road test. I thought me schedule road test now through Gelati. I thought always have to cheat up on the men of them. I thought scheduling a road test.
The no charge way is you can schedule online yourself at the DMV, or we can help you schedule.
Well, I will see me at all my figure anymore. If you thought I would online, if me at a schedule, I figure road test anymore. Maybe if mommy the bunny love the center, I will much of the scheduling a road test.
When you schedule for the road test, you're going to need an email address and or a phone number, and so they will send you a confirmation, and then you make sure you check that your messages to make sure there's no changes to your appointment due to COVID-19 or the weather.
So I will me schedule with a road test. His no email and the phone email. That but they did a lot of content. That call it or the meeting back at COVID-19. Me sonomino so I will to check the email through text messages more.
So bring your permit, your 5-hour course certificate, and a licensed driver over 21 with you to the road test.
So me la road test me la mawari me la noka baka road test ne la job la si permit through certificate pen the qua without that one January kind of we were them 1 year la kichi ni sia poko a driver less only name or let in nama.
The licensed driver is going to have to bring his license with him or her with her.
So pen what let you not any our but let job I think driver license.
Make sure the car is inspected and insured and registered. Current, everything's current.
Okay. So the pencil and knock out kunine check wa lati loche kalakachima me kawi kalakachia register wilia or that anymore.
They may show you while you're taking the road test this this little card, and it will say right-hand turn, left-hand turn, pull over. But there's different hand signals that they're using, and you know, this could help you pass.
So our the blood connie wala atama tilma road test and walk piawara su hand signs mo you found ba la ju toya media but you know what ya su hand signal kan o mo so you tell su sinya wada ta yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to know how to do a 3-point turn and how to parallel park.
So our nabasinya 3-point turn to parallel parking mo dara kan naba practice.
Pass versus fail the road test. If you pass the road test, you'll be able to drive alone.
So our semi plora through road test mo our no category mo.
If you're under 18, you'll have some restrictions.
Nimi o dichi khwani sia phala de our restriction o de che mo ma ta de o de che mo.
If you fail the road test, you still have your learner permit.
So our semi locked there through road test the kanine our the permit o do de lo.
So if you do not pass, you have to reschedule and take the test again as many times as it takes to get your driver's license. After 2 times, they'll require a fee again. I think it's $10.
So I went in the middle of there with a road test. I took it to the blondie. I went to reschedule with a road test. They keep bloody more. And the low hit you about what Nami Mara appointment for Nami lot that third blow one me my appointment for anymore. I work a legit the cheapening.
So you need like a debit card or a credit card in order to reschedule after you failed twice.
Okay, so I went to me look at keep law one me schedule it road test afani no longer debit card, me credit card.
But the main part is it gives you an opportunity. You know, if you fail, then you have more opportunity to practice, and they tell you what things you did wrong that caused you to fail. Okay.
So in the middle of the day, I walk it in a balen lot there after about dilemma. So the thing are on ban non lula you get what be up here fitting and the macamam dilemma.
So you have to go online to check to see. They'll give you a piece of paper and they tell you to go online to check to see whether you passed or failed.
Well, our cinema road test they were here and liquid me my pair our kitchen I mean the pro I mean lot there. So it's about check what other computer book.
Right. And then if you've passed, you'll receive the new driver's license in the mail at the address that's on the permit. So just be careful of that. If you move sometime in between, you need, between getting your permit and getting your driver's license, you have to update your address with the DMV or it'll get mailed to the wrong place.
So I want to me pull it on the road test and walk it here with walk it showing na driver's license he adjustment na follow it car anymore. I went pen car me to put me to do I want to call in the address and the man let they clear with that DMV man but the update with that and he address that they click at you want me to update what our car can make a little and he lonely to me to me I could go Kevin you or the gym.
So again, practice and reschedule so you're a safe driver and you pass. You can drive by yourself. So
not local we were our enemy lot any or reschedule that road test. Dealer hours in the diploma.
Any questions? Doe, do you have any questions?
So I don't have any questions.
So we're going to post this to Facebook. So if you have questions, ask us on Facebook.
So I will book post with other kind of Facebook. If that we come out to meet the muni, our fish show a message the post on the Facebook winner.
And yeah. So, and there's also a quiz on Facebook. You could watch this and then take the quiz and see how you do.
We will Facebook ne, but they were a quiz almost. So the mere sister were that the quiz in Ola.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we are so happy to have been able to provide this program for you today. Welcome to the traffic safety program at the center, and please let us know if you need any help or you have questions.